Several months have passed since the beginning of the year, and we've already seen many things, but there's still plenty of time before the end of the year, and many unusual events are expected in the coming months. You can see with your own eyes the coolest eclipses and planetary alignments. Look at an amazing meteor shower and a giant moon, and even see an asteroid. This is Infinity, and in this episode I'll tell you about the events of 2022 that you can see with your own eyes. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase planetary alignment, but do all of you know what it is? If you don't know, a planetary alignment is a phenomenon that occurs when some of the planets in the solar system line up in the same area of the sky for observers from Earth. In other words, the planets appear to be on the same straight line from the Sun. There are several such alignments waiting for us this year. One has already taken place recently, with Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all taking part in the alignment in late March. Another one's already taken place recently on April 20 when Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Venus lined up in the pre-dawn sky. Conditions for observation were better than in March, all the planets were visible with the naked eye, and rose high enough above the horizon before the sunrise. Another planetary alignment will happen on June 24, 2022. Astronomers predict that this will be the last and most spectacular planetary alignment of the year. On the morning of June 24th, observers will see all the planets in the solar system aligned in the sky. Only 5 of them, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, will be visible to the naked eye. Neptune and Uranus will be dim, so you'll need powerful binoculars or a telescope to see them. Unfortunately, the planets will be far apart, stretching from east to south at northern latitudes and from north to east at southern latitudes, so you can't see them together with optical instruments. However, observers in southern latitudes will have an advantage. For them, the planets will rise earlier and much higher. But it's possible that none of us will see the June planetary alignment because a terrible event is expected in May. On May 6th, the asteroid JF1 may fly into our planet at full speed. It's considered to be the 5th most dangerous by size, distance, and closing speed to our planet. The asteroid itself isn't very big, only about 10 meters in diameter. It's even smaller than the notorious Chelyabinsk meteor. Nevertheless, the speed of JF1 is incredible, about 24 kilometers per second. It's possible that on May 6 we'll be able to see the approaching asteroid with our own eyes. Perhaps from the Earth it will be similar to the final scene of the movie Don't Look Up. Some experts assure that the impact of this asteroid could be even more dangerous and powerful than the one that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. If JF1 falls to Earth, the impact force would be 230 kilotons of TNT equivalent. An explosion of such power could destroy an entire city. And if the asteroid falls into the ocean, it could cause catastrophic tsunamis that would flood half the world. But many astronomers are reassuring, saying that JF1 will still miss the Earth. In their view, the asteroid may pass near the Earth on May 6th or 15th at a safe distance. It'll be possible to see it with our own eyes, even in this case, but it will already require powerful telescopes. I don't know if the asteroid will hit the Earth or not, but in any case, there will be solar eclipse before this event. You probably know what an eclipse is. It's when the moon covers the sun, which can make the day dark as night for a few minutes. There will be partial solar eclipse on April 30th. It'll be visible in South America, as well as in the south and southeast areas of the Pacific Ocean, and some parts of the Pacific coast of Antarctica. Any viewers here from Antarctica? Make a note in your diary that you should take your mind off playing with penguins and look up at the sky on April 30th. And here's another eclipse. At this moment, the moon, Earth, and sun are all in line, with the Earth blocking out the sun from the moon. To me, this phenomenon is even more epic and cooler than a solar eclipse, because the moon often turns red at this point. And since a lunar eclipse happens during a full moon, it visually seems like our natural satellite is ominously hovering over the planet at this time. It looks really cool. Because of this, by the way, the phenomenon is nicknamed the blood moon. Fortunately, more people will see this eclipse than the April solar eclipse. It'll occur on May 16th. The full phase of the blood moon eclipse will be visible from North and South America, Europe, Africa, and parts of Asia. Because the moon turns red during a lunar eclipse, it begins to appear visually larger against the dark Earth. But it appears even larger during a supermoon. This is a phenomenon that occurs when the full or new moon coincides with the perihelion, the moment when the Moon and the Earth are closest to each other. This occurs due to the elliptical orbit in which the Moon rotates around the planet. Because of this phenomenon, you can see from Earth a larger lunar disk than usual. You have the opportunity to see this miracle with your own eyes very soon. There will be 2 supermoons in 2022 on June 14th and July 13th. Mark your calendar for these days, not to forget to take cool pictures and just admire the incredible sight. Supermoons, while not the rarest phenomenon, are big and beautiful moons you don't see very often. The periodicity of the largest and most beautiful supermoons can be decades. By the way, if you believe in astrology or superstition, you should know that the day of the supermoon is considered special. According to superstitions, on this day it's forbidden to quarrel, to get married, and to travel. On the supermoon day, it's customary to clean and tidy homes, wash windows, and bake pies as round as the moon. Press the like button if these tips come in handy. Perseids. If you're not impressed by solar and lunar eclipses and giant moons, maybe you'd like stargazing, also known as a star shower or meteor shower. There's another name for it, the Perseids. During the peak of the Perseids, you can see up to 100 meteors per hour, but this August you should expect higher velocities. Precipitation in the form of meteors is forecast for the evening of August 12th and the night of August 13th. The peak is forecast for 1600 Eastern Time on August 12th. Under favorable weather conditions with no city lights, up to 110 meteors per hour or 1 or 2 meteors per minute might be seen. The August Perseids promise to be the best stargazing event of the year. The best place to watch meteors is in the mountains or away from major cities. To enjoy the beauty to the full, it's recommended to go 30 kilometers away from small communities and more than 100 kilometers away from metropolises. Otherwise, the strong light in the sky in the city will not allow you to see even half of the falling meteors. Let's get back to the asteroids. Something important is going to happen this year related to these celestial bodies. Yes, I've already mentioned that an asteroid could hit the Earth on May 6, but that's not what I'm talking about now. This is about an asteroid called 16 Psyche. It's located in the asteroid belt, which is between Mars and Jupiter, so it's not going to fly to us. On the contrary, it's we who will fly to it. But why? Astronomers studied 16 Psyche a few years ago and found that this asteroid contains high amounts of iron, nickel, platinum, copper, and gold. They believe that all the resources on 16 Psyche could be worth anywhere from $10 to $700 quintillion. This makes 16 Psyche one of the most expensive objects in the universe. It's a sin not to take advantage of such wealth, NASA thought, and began preparing for the Psyche mission. Preparations have been underway for several years, and we'll be able to see the results this August when NASA sends the Psyche spacecraft straight to 16 Psyche. Everyone will be able to watch the broadcast of this historic event, which will take place on August 22nd. The mission will be a long one. The Psyche spacecraft won't arrive at 16 Psyche until January 2026. The goal of the mission is to study the asteroid, determine its true value, and figure out exactly how we can extract valuable resources from 16 Psyche and deliver them to Earth. What NASA wants to do with 16 Psyche is called asteroid mining. This promising field could become very lucrative in the future and perhaps save humanity from a lack of resources once we understand how to appropriate asteroid resources. The future is already upon us, and this year you can see even more of it. Stay tuned to see what things, ideas, and unusual projects could become a reality as early as 2022. In 2022, not only the Psyche spacecraft will fly into space, but also ordinary people.
10, 9. Okay, we're here.
I don't mean astronauts, but ordinary people, because 2022 promises to be the starting point of full-fledged space tourism. It was only 61 years ago that the first human spaceflight took place, and now Virgin Galactic is already planning to open sales for suborbital flights. The head of the company, billionaire Richard Branson, has already been to space last summer and realized that other people deserve it too. The cost of a ticket is still very high. A flight costs $450,000, but this is temporary. Gradually, the price will go down, and perhaps in 10 to 15 years, flying into space will be as common and accessible as flying on a plane. Jeff Bezos, who also plans to develop space tourism, looks at this with hope as well. Elon Musk's in too. He's going to start sending people to the ISS in the near future. If you don't get to go into space this year, don't despair. You can still fly in a taxi, for example. And I don't mean that you'll get a daredevil driver who will drive madly on the highway. In 2022, there will be flying taxis all over the world. Several companies are working on the startup. So far, the California-based company Joby Aviation is doing best, planning to build more than a dozen 5-seat taxis with flying distance up to 240 kilometers. Hyundai and Urban Airport are not far behind. Their ambitious plan is to create not just flying cars, but an entire network of flying taxis in several cities around the world. Imagine how cool a flying taxi app would look. The inventors also plan to create the first flying taxi station in Great Britain. It should appear by the end of the year. Tests of flying cars are already active, and some of them have ended successfully. So flying taxis are eagerly believed. We'll soon be driving around traffic jams in the sky. HIV has been one of the most serious diseases for decades. Since its emergence, scientists have been guessing, trying to create the perfect vaccine. But so far, they've only managed to come up with drugs with which an HIV-infected person can live a normal life and prevent the disease from progressing to the stage of AIDS. But very soon that may change. Scientists are on the verge of inventing the long-awaited HIV vaccine. Interestingly enough, the vaccine was developed based on the COVID-19 vaccine. Earlier this year, the new vaccine was successfully tested on macaques. 58 weeks after vaccination, all vaccinated animals had developed measurable levels of neutralizing antibodies against most strains of the HIV infection. Scientists are now adjusting test protocols. If the safety and efficacy of the vaccine is confirmed, the first phase of research on this vaccine platform in healthy adult humans will be announced. It's possible that in 2022, mankind will finally begin to defeat HIV. That's all, guys. How do you think this year will end? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you later.